Oi boys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We have an emergency hotfix. So if you tuned into our patch 18 video, you would have noticed that there was clearly something wrong with the rucks and the turnovers. There was some sort of imbalance there where turnovers at the ruck were just happening way too frequently, and Ross took to X to address that, as well as an FYI to say that pulling players out of the ruck will be added into the game, as well as the 5-man rucks. And it's something we sort of talked about when we were playing the previous or the latest patch. Just wondering why there wasn't an option to pull players out if we were getting the option to add players in. Not long after that, we got patch notes and an update, and we are here to dive in. But yeah, basically they reduced the turnovers, they improved the ruck entry speed. That was another issue with players standing around the ruck. They also improved the kick aiming. Not sure if that's general play. They improved the AI ruck decision making, and of course improved stability. No context patch notes, but we'll dive in and suss it out. So if you missed yesterday's updates, you would have done yourself a favor, as the game was in a terrible state in regards to the rucks. There were far too many turnovers, and it was pretty much unplayable for the most parts. I'm glad they've addressed this issue with the quickness. This playthrough we should get a better representation of what the intended changes are supposed to look like, and the way I'm going to be playing this match will be a little more methodical. I'm going to play the territory game, and I'm going to be spamming the rucks. In both offense and defense, I'm just really trying to test out this 5-man ruck, and the fact that we can remove players from the ruck now. I love the changes. We get to our first breakdown here finally. And there's the command you saw for a split second. You actually just press A to remove, so you can't really change players. I'm assuming you just use the bumpers to change players from left to right, which I don't mind. But yeah, you just saw you press A to remove players from the ruck as they fumble their way over the sideline with that. We'll take a lineouts. We'll try and score some points. I'm still not liking how they're not catching it on the full. Be sure to put that on my list of things that needs to be improved. I've got plenty on that list, by the way. We've got the bombs, the grubbers, the catching, the contests. Whole bunch of stuff here. What I want to try and do now is just hit the rolling wall. Apparently there was an option to remove players from a rolling wall. Functionality wise, it is pretty simple. It doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything, and it feels like there's no resistance from the AI here, so we do actually score on the back of it more. That was pretty clean. It may be controversial, but I do love how the offloading works. You know, with those tackles that take an age to complete, especially when you hold up on the right analog stick, it gives you time to actually pop an offload. And they're not always landing or successful, as we will get another lineouts here. Like I said, I will be playing a little smarter this game, as well as testing out the rucks. I want to be spamming the rucks in defense, just to see if we can find the rhyme or reason or the point of a turnover. If the numbers game actually helps, especially having up to 5 players joining a ruck. It wouldn't make sense if we see that's an example of the offload not actually working because of terrible decision making by myself. Thankfully we do retain possession. I'm not blaming the offload mechanic. That was all our fault here as we slice right through defenders, caught flat-footed. I actually don't mind that. Something else I wanted to test was the kickoffs, trying to engage in more contests. But we haven't had the chance to kick off yet because we've actually been in control of the match. As this one will find a bit of space here, and the Reds will get some possession just beyond halfway. Huge spaces in the defensive line because we are committing to the ruck for the most part. Again, a lot of space here as they make a break. I'm noticing though they are finding offloads on the opposite side, if that makes sense. There's another great offload. And into space they go. All the way down to the 5. Somewhat under the pump. As they get a nice bump. And the turnover's in. Now let's get out of here. Oh no, a ricochet. Right into the hands of Daulunu, it looks like. They missed? I'm leaving this one in for sure. I can't believe they actually missed from that range. This is on hardest. Finally we get to test out the contests. All I'm doing is just running towards it and spamming X. If we get the gauge, then we'll try to time it, but it doesn't really say on the gauge where to time it, as there's no like green area. Oh bro, a little bit of footwork. And a break tackle. We need more of those types of animations. Not those flimsy fins and over the top shoulder barges. There's again another nice little simple break tackle. A bit of footwork here. This is reminiscent of how we scored. A couple defenders flat-footed around the ruck and a bit of pace between those two players. And the Reds are over. That one's impossible to contest, as they do get assisted. Straight into a rolling maul. I love how they are running onto the ball at least. That's a nice, quick sidestep animation. Beautiful. Oh, we hand it right back. So they have the quick animations, ones that don't take an age to complete. The issue is we're not seeing as much as we should. There's too many over the top animations that take an age to complete. They're actually worse off for you, as you do get tackled straight after you complete that said animation, or you get tackled during it. As we see it again, that simple break tackle animation will lead to another try for the Queensland Reds. We are also being punished, I'm noticing, because we are overcommitting to the ruck on purpose. And if you miss that one-on-one tackle, you are cooked. There's no one close enough to get your trade, if you will. Shout out to my FPS competitive players that get that reference. Basically, there's no one there to clean your mess. So unfortunately, our playthrough was cut short due to a crash, but I did want to give my overall thoughts on this emergency hotfix, if you will. As you can tell by the gameplay, we did have a much smoother experience than the last. The rucks have been fixed, the turnovers were corrected as they said, and having the ability to remove players from rucks, along with the addition of 5-man rucks, functionality wise, it was pretty smooth. Seamless, if you will, which is the goal when you're adding in new features or gameplay changes in general. What I found with our overcommitting was that we were getting punished for missing tackles, and just on that missing tackles, I would love to see more of those simple break tackle animations that don't take much time to complete. Like I was saying during the match, I would rather see that than the over the top barges and fins, 360 sidesteps, stuff like that should be more rare. But yeah, after all the corrected ruck changes, my overall thoughts on this update, it is a positive step forward. The new gameplay changes and the offloading was way smoother from the AI. They're not always offloading in one direction, I noticed, and when they were hitting offloads into space, they were hitting it with pace. So another step forward. We just need to see them offloading more often. But yeah, that's about it for this video. We are going to call it there. As always, if you did enjoy it, be sure to run straight at that like button, and for more rugby related content or more content in general, go ahead and drop your boy a cheeky sub. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.